The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That's a quote from the late great Master Chief, God rest her soul, from the hit game Gods of War. Maybe, I don't know. I'm a games journalist. I don't play games, I just talk about them. I'm joking, just throwing some playful shade there. I'm a games journalist. I barely talk about games either. Look, I take no pleasure from all these games media sites shutting down and all the layoffs of people who have been maliciously attacking gamers and small game studios for years. Oh look, there I go again. Another journalist telling bald-faced lies to the community. Do I hear 3? Kotaku? Vice? Please be Vice. Christmas came twice. RPG gamers are eating good back to back. Against all odds, Oblivion Remake was shadow dropped, the best game Bethesda has made in 19 years. And just days later in its shadow, CO33 dropped an indie, turn-based RPG made by Dear Lord. Ex-Ubisoft devs instantly earned itself a Game of the Year nomination. Huh, that's funny. After all this time being told that players just don't want turn-based RPGs anymore, after being told that the reason Xbox games never sell is because of Game Pass, after so many AAA games bombed to the excuse of it just came out too close to another big game, and Ubisoft. Why is it that AC Shadows took 20,000 people and 2 hours of credits to make a game that sells 2 million activations while a team that is 1,000 times smaller managed to sell 2 million, not activations, but copies? If the game's media and their corporate masters were lying about all that, what else were they lying about? All good things must be balanced out with bad news of back-to-back games media shutdowns. Don't start filling the grave of Polygon, there's still room for one more. Giant Bomb has blown itself up in the confusion. Speaking of games media for atheists, God's sake, stop it. I can only get so hard. See, journalists are dropping out of Giant Bomb because the site owners had the absolute audacity to ask them to do one thing that no games journalist ever wants to be told to do. They were asked to start covering video game news. Their anger is understandable. They've been honing their talents at not covering anything of interest to gamers for the last decade. Like hearing your local hospital shut down because the doctors all quit after being told to heal the sick, or traffic cops going on strike because they were told to start ticketing downtown parkers 1 minute past the 30-minute limit. Nearby PETA office is on strike after employees were told they need to start dog napping and murdering pets. My local government is shut down because they were ordered to start doing nothing at all and making sure it costs twice as much money. Just joking around there, no reason to get butthurt, big government Glock riders. Government would never shut down. Things might start getting done. Look, journalists are going to have a great future as fast food specialists, at least until they strike over being told to put the fries in the bag, and that puts them in a mental health meltdown. They spend so much time telling gamers that games must reflect the real world, while their reality has been spewing misinformation for years and getting paid by embezzled government funding. Silver lining, now that gaming can start to heal and return to escapism, when you journalists need a break from your new jobs, there's going to be something to help you escape. What extreme delusionalism were they under, with everyone displeased by their coverage to not consider, are we the baddies? Journalists, it's not us, it's you. Instead of working in an industry you obviously hate, playing games you hate, informing gamers you hate, while failing tutorials, giving extremely high scores to games nobody wants to play that die and are shut down in weeks, while blasting games you barely touched due to some political agenda, such as the entire games industry proving with their Black Myth Wukong reviews that they didn't even get past the first hour of the game, as countless outlets in tandem accused the game of misogyny after the media published misinformation that was quickly debunked, which the media refused to ever answer for. And even after all that, trying another angle of saying the game hates women because it had no female characters. Only for players to find out after a few more hours into the game that the game had numerous strong, intelligent women in it. Imagine this if you will. Imagine you get a job where you are required to do just 2 things. Play a bunch of video games, and then talk about those video games. Think about how that would rank in enjoyability compared to all the other jobs you've had. Chances are good you either would rank that number 1, or you have a very good job and are far more grateful for that fact. Imagine having a stressful job, family obligations, and just wanting in your free time something with zero bullshit to be entertained by. such as watching sports, going to the gym, reading books, playing games, watching shows or movies, and so on. Except now all of these entertainment avenues are activist tainted, and these activists have co-opted and safe-spaced these places. They inject their beliefs into everything so there is no escape or relaxation to be found anywhere. You leave your stressors only to be bombarded everywhere else by more nonsense. So it is unfathomable that everyone working in this games media industry hit the jackpot, get free games, and are paid to do a dream job, yet hate that job so much they spend all their time complaining about their audience, about how much they hate games, how they hate AA and indie studios who find success without going through their extortion network. They constantly attack everyone. They spend more time talking about politics and social causes in their articles and only seem to enjoy clout and industry access. The one time they seem happy is at elitist award shows and events, where they get to hang out with other like-minded journalists and complain about how much they hate gamers or scream at the sky. People with common sense do not engage in the things that are not for them. People who are mentally ill try to force the things they hate to turn into things that cater to them, before abandoning them to look for something else they hate to mess with. So it should be no surprise there is a sense of karmic justice, when the same journalists who spent all that time doing everything they could to antagonize gamers now suddenly make a pathetic attempt to beg for gamer support. This is very cathartic. For so long, toxic games journalists were going nowhere. No matter how vile they treated gamers, they were going to have complete corporate backing. This is like the final act of a Shakespearean tragedy. The string of bad decisions and evil acts of the villain coming to a satisfactory, ironic ending where their own hubris is turned on them. Gamers are over. Gamers don't have to be your audience. This has been the mantra of games media, in so many different ways trying to convince games developers to abandon the audience. Attacks on the reputation of gamers, and the content creators who gamers respect, with all the typical bigot, phobe, name-calling that now has no meaning. Grifter and incel being the current flavor of reputational assassination. Consultants and journalists use intimidation and threats against developers to remove all the parts of their games that players enjoy in order to instead go after an extremely sensitive, imaginary, modern audience that won't buy the product even as it caters directly to them and nobody else. And as media sites are chain shut down, they come out with them bragging of many talented people who are working there who you should snatch up if you're hiring, and specifically need a bunch of people who managed, at the peak of gaming popularity, to provide a service nobody wants. Prove it. Prove it. Viva la revolution. You hate corporations, and now you're in a market where every proletariat has the same opportunity. So be your own means of production, comrade. Make your own site. Get on YouTube, stream. You are so talented and have so much industry knowledge after all. A large audience of people on the right side of history, eager for your coverage on how to play Animal Crossing with a butt plug, or on how the Xbox make you fear for your life because of the holes on top of the console. You've had years to build the trust of an audience, you have the experience and, allegedly, the talent. Don't want to get sued for misinformation on that one. You should knock it out of the park as an influencer, so why are you so afraid? We know why. Journalists are nothing without the corporation and its prestige. These fragile champagne socialists in ivory towers looking down on everyone else, all while they cry about their made-up intersectional power structures to justify their own bigotry and misandry. Media power depends entirely on the systems they rail against. The moment they lose that benefit of those systems of power and are on equal footing with everyone else, they throw a fit, because when the playing field is level and fair, they are at a massive disadvantage. A decade of journalist disgrace is being repaid, and it is beautiful to look at pages upon pages upon pages of Twitter reactions to the news of these sites failing. Non-stop, relentless realization from the entire audience, games media gets what it deserves. Watching Ubisoft or EA or Actiblizzard bring out more slop, which gamers reject, leading journalists to run defense for AAA corporate games by calling gamers bigots like clockwork in lockstep every single time. They've embarrassed themselves thoroughly. There is no return to form for gaming journalism. The fall of vaunted corporate media shows journalists that have no ethics and no value have no place in journalism. Cogs in the machine. The activist, glorious commie revolution is taking place, but they're the ones being dragged from isolated palaces of irrelevancy. They told gamers to go eat cake. They don't get their cake and eat it too. The games media has a vital consumer protection role. That role was to inform, was to protect the gaming audience with a powerful weapon of reliable information that gamers can then use to make purchasing decisions. They were in a position to be the safeguard against the worst parts of corporate corruption, deception, and greed, and instead became the biggest proponents of it. The media made misinformation and propaganda the norm as a promotional arm of huge companies. They wanted to be seen. Everyone sees through them now. But they have given some good advice here, showing a broken cocksucker can be right twice a career. You should give your attention and tender to games content creators who genuinely like you. Too bad for the media, it seems like the gamers have a mutual, reciprocal level of respect for journalists. Your goblin reputation is at negative 36,000. Your faction is permanently at war. Up to you what sort of grinding you plan to do to get out of the pit you dug yourself.